I call you to worship with these words adapted from Walter Royal Jones. Mindful of truth ever exceeding our knowledge, love greater than we know, and solidarity ever exceeding our practice. Reverently, we gather for worship, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strengths of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit, that we may know more truth, love more freely and fully, and live in the solidarity that strengthens each of us and through which we transform the world.
Good morning and welcome to this virtual service of the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg, a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of the Worldwide Fellowship of Religious Liberals. I am Teresa Albarisi, your lay liturgist this morning. Participating in this service also are Reverend Anthony P. Johnson, Minister, Corey Ness, Director of Religious Education, Yvonne DeVal, Director of Music, Chris Dutton of the Stewardship Committee, and Hannah Belzer, pianist. You who are watching this service, you're also participants of this service. Whatever your age, your occupation, your gender identity, whoever you live with, wherever you work, wherever you live, whomever you love. Whether you're a longtime member of this church or a first-time visitor to our virtual service, your presence and participation are important. I welcome you to the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. I invite those of you at home to light a chalice, a candle, or whatever you choose to serve as your chalice at home. We gather this hour as a people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share. Please join me for our unison words of affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
Sing Hello, my name is Corey and I serve as your Director of Religious Exploration. Today's story is titled The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a great and powerful book that promotes tolerance, communication, friendship, and open-mindedness. Woodson addresses race relations with two young girls, one black and one white. A fence divides their homes, but they slowly get to know each other by sitting on this barrier. That summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it. White people lived on the other. And Mama said, "Don't climb over that fence when you play." She said it wasn't safe. That summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater. Each morning she climbed up on that fence and stared over at our side. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody, that girl didn't. Once, when we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play, and my friend Sandra said no, without even asking the rest of us. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes, maybe no. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed far away. When I asked my mama why, she said, "Because that's the way things have always been." Sometimes, when me and Mama went into town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad sometimes, that girl did. "Don't stare," my mama said. "It's not polite." It rained a lot that summer. On rainy days, that girl sat on the fence in a raincoat. She let herself get all wet and acted like she didn't even care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in puddles, splashing and laughing. Mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. "That's why I bought you rainy day toys," my mama said. "You stay inside here where it's warm, safe, and dry." But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her, somewhere near that fence. Someplace in the middle of summer, the rain stopped. When I walked outside, the grass was damp and the sun was already high up in the sky, and I stood there with my hands up in the air. I felt brave that day. I felt free. I got close to the fence and that girl asked me my name. "Clover," I said. "My name's Annie," she said. "Annie Paul. I live over yonder," she said, "by where you see the laundry. That's my blouse hanging on the line." She smiled then. She had such a pretty smile. And then I smiled, and we stood there looking at each other, smiling. "It's nice up on this fence," Annie said. "You can see all over." I ran my hand along the fence. I reached up and touched the top of it. "A fence like this was made for sitting on," Annie said. She looked at me sideways. "My mama says I shouldn't go on the other side," I said. My mama says the same thing, but she never said nothing about sitting on it." "Neither did mine," I said. That summer, me and Annie sat together on that fence, and when Sandra and them looked at me funny, I just made believe I didn't care. Some mornings my mama watched us. I waited for her to tell me to get down from that fence before I break my neck or something, but she never did. "I see you made a new friend," she said one morning, and I nodded, and Mama smiled. That summer, me and Annie sat on that fence and watched the whole wide world around us. One day, Sandra and them were jumping rope near the fence, and we asked if we could play. "I don't care," Sandra said. And when we jumped, Sandra and me were partners, the way we used to be. When we were too tired to jump anymore, we sat up on that fence, all of us in a long line. "Someday, somebody's going to come along and knock this old fence down," Annie said. And I nodded. "Yeah," I said. "Someday."
It's a very ancient saying, but a true and honest thought, that if you become a teacher, by your pupils you'll be taught. As a teacher I've been learning, you'll forgive me if I boast, and I've now become an expert on the subject I like most. Getting to know you. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, getting to my way but nicely. You're precisely my cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I'm with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed, suddenly I'm bright and breezy, because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I'm with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed, suddenly I'm bright and breezy, because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day.
When I think of the word friend, I think of many words and emotions, all of them active. Caring, sharing, crying, worrying, frustrating, cursing, drinking, but most of all, loving, talking, sharing, and laughing. Friends have your back when you're up, and even more importantly, when you're down, or just being plain idiotic. So what is a friend? Well, friend means different things to different people, and the meaning, need, or type of friend changes over time. We often think of friends as people, but they could be your pet dog, cat, guinea pig, or even a fish. Years ago, a neighbor's daughter was having trouble sleeping. She was 6 or 7 at the time and had been sleeping through the night for years. But suddenly she was lonely and she wanted a friend over every night, which of course was not feasible. Her parents weren't sure what to do. They couldn't get a cat or a dog or a furry animal. So they just talked to their daughter and said they would think about what they could do. Meanwhile, the school fair was going on. So they went to the fair with their daughter, and like many kids, their daughter won a goldfish. They put the goldfish in a bowl in her room, and she slept through the night. And she slept through the next night. And the daughter came out and said to him, "Wow, it is so nice to be sleeping and sharing my room with a friend." Who would have thought a goldfish could do so much? Some friends are for life, but others aren't. Others, if you're lucky, are just there at the time you need them most. I grew up in a circle of row houses outside of Philadelphia. Everyone in my neighborhood was Catholic, and everyone went to Catholic school. And I'm talking about a lot of kids. Each family had around a minimum of 4 kids. Many had 5 or 6. All went to Catholic school. When I was in high school, I had to transfer to the public school. This doesn't sound like much, but it was actually very tough. I didn't know anyone who went to public school. Fortunately for me, during my first week, 2 girls came up to me, introduced themselves, and asked me to join a club. And they even invited me to their homes to get some things ready for a celebration we were having with the club. They didn't turn out to be lifelong friends. However, I will treasure the friendship of Terry and Fran for the rest of my life. They reached out when I needed it, and because of them, I hoped and tried to reach out to others. When I fell in love with a woman was another time I really needed friends. Fortunately, I already had some friends who were gay, so when I came out, I did have a place to be and friends. However, I had many other friends who did not know that I had to come out to. Some I lost, but others I kept and still have now. My most vivid memory of coming out to one of my friends is to my college roommate. We were going on vacation together. She lived in Lancaster and I lived in Philadelphia at the time, so we decided that we were going to hike from Philadelphia to Lancaster and camp along the way. We were going to share really tight quarters in a tent, and I just felt strongly that she would need to know that I was gay and before we went on this trip. So we met to make plans, but I took her aside and I said, look, I have something I need to tell you. And I was pretty hesitant. I was very nervous. I said, I am gay. I fell in love with a woman. I explained to her about this woman. So my friend was sort of quiet for a moment. And then she burst out laughing. And she said, is that all? I thought you were going to tell me you were becoming a nun. Friends also help us raise our children. We're a gay transracial family. And at the time, the transracial family in Harrisburg, a transracial family group in Harrisburg would not accept us because we were gay. But fortunately, several of my friends adopted at the same time, so we became our own transracial gay adoption group. Then we met others from our church who further normalized adoption in transracial families. In fact, it became so normal for our children that one of their friends said to their mom, our family's so boring. Everybody in our family is white and we just have a mom and a dad. Friendship is two ways. Friends are here for us, but we have to be there for them as well. It's not always convenient and it's not always fun, but it's always worth it. A good friend of mine had been fighting cancer for 4 or 5 years, and I was privileged to share some of her journey with her. It was full of laughter and tears, a lot of desserts, but also screaming and cursing. I had taken her to Philadelphia to get results of a special treatment she was undergoing, and we thought there was going to be good news. But in fact, there was not good news. And she came out and she said she was so frustrated. She just wanted to scream and cry and curse, especially before she got home to her family. So from Philadelphia to Harrisburg, we thumped on the dashboard, we screamed, we cursed everywhere we could think of. And by the time we got back home, she was able to face her husband and her children and tell them the bad news. Unfortunately, she died a few months later, but she's forever in my heart. Friends support you and have enough guts to tell you when you're wrong, out of line, or over the top. Like many women, I had to go on medication during menopause to help me with the mood swings and depression. After a year or so, I decided to go off the medications, thinking I'm pretty good, I'm good. After several months, I was feeling out of sorts, and I said to my friends, I think maybe I should go back to the doctor and see if I should go back on medication. I thought they would just say, sure, Teresa, why don't you talk to your doctor about it? That's not what they said. What they said was, absolutely yes, go back to your doctor. You need to do something. You're very intense and you are over the top right now. So I did go back to the doctor, and everything turned out okay. I can just go on and on about friendship. Recently, friends helped me through the last 5 years when I was laid off. My work friends met me every week for 6 months so that I would not lose connection with them or with work. And people here in the church and in choir allowed me to remain in the choir, even though when I finally got a job, I missed most Sundays. My friends helped me see that I was worthwhile and I could and would get through this. And with their help, I did. And of course, friends helped me through this last chaotic, stressful, unbelievable past year. Life is an adventure, one that includes incredibly happy times, sad times, and challenging times. Being a friend and having friends is a privilege, and it opens your heart. Whether your best friend is a person, a group of people, your spouse, a relative, a dog, a cat, or a fish, friends make life a lot easier to live.
Let us call upon the Spirit that moves among us, below us, above us, and through us. Let us call upon those who have gone before us, who are of that Spirit, who have shown us the way, to be with us as guides and examples. Let us call upon ourselves to imagine, to hope, to dream, and to do, that the future may build upon the past, but not be limited by the past, that the future we imagine will be a new thing, and much more and different and better thing than anything we can imagine. In the summer of 2008, I attended a wedding at which I did not officiate. At most of the weddings I attend, I am the officiant. This was one of the rare weddings where my only role was that of guest. The bride's family's Catholic parish priest officiated. The groom's father, a minister in the United Church of Christ, and someone I have known since we were children, delivered the homily. At the reception, Jody and I were seated with members of the groom's family. His aunt, widowed when the groom's uncle died, her 3 children, and 1 or 2 others. The widowed sister-in-law greeted me like family, and the groom's mother, long divorced from the groom's father and, like him, long remarried, greeted me with great warmth. After most of the guests had settled into their seats and engaged in conversation around their tables, one of the groom's cousins said to me, "I know you're important, but I don't know why." I explained how his uncle and I had been friends going back to the 7th grade, that we had played together in a jug band while we were in high school, and that I had known his late father, my friend's only sibling, who was 2 years older than we were. In the 45 years or so between the 7th grade and the wedding of his oldest son, my friend, let's call him Steve, and I had been through a lot together and in parallel, making music together in high school, facing the draft while in college and just after, which was at the height of the war in Vietnam, marriage, the birth of children, and divorce, the deaths of his parents and of my father, the death of his older brother and only sibling, and challenges in both of our careers as ministers, he in the United Church of Christ and I in the Unitarian Universalist Association. We have been through a lot since his nephew's wedding. The death of my mother and 2 of my sisters, the cancer of one of his nephews, and his own diagnosis of a debilitating condition that led to early retirement. Except for a few years in the 1970s, we have not lived in the same state since we graduated from high school in 1967. Yet we have been and still remain friends. A little more than 30 years ago, Stephen said to me, "I'm looking forward to us being old together." Both of us use the term best friends. Here is another story. It was a Thursday evening in 2013. The room was filled with love, collegiality, and friendship among the many present. It was a celebration for Susan Morris, who is retiring as Associate Dean of Student Services at the Milano School of International Affairs Management and Urban Policy of the New School University. She had spent her entire career at the New School, beginning with her own graduate studies in urban policy when she was a young mother with 3 children in school. Her husband, their 3 sons, and several of their grandchildren were there in that room, along with faculty, administrators, alumni, and alumni, including me. There were tributes, of course, from former students, faculty members, and fellow administrators. When it was Susan's turn to speak, she mentioned that she and her husband George had been married for 54 years, to which he said loudly and clearly, "Has it been that long?" As I said, the room was full of love, collegiality, and friendship. You could say of those gathered that Susan loved them all and they loved her back. That's why I was there on a Thursday evening when I had a pile of work sitting on my desk. I wanted to affirm my affection for Susan Morris and my collegial friendship with her and others of those gathered, whether fellow graduates or fellow adjunct faculty. These 2 friendships and others embody aspects of what the psychologist Alfred Adler labeled as social feeling. Adler asserted that there are 3 necessary tasks in a full human life. Social feeling is one, work is another, love and family constitute the third. Social feeling is recognition of the feeling and of the reality that human beings live in a web or network of relationships. Adler's method is called individual psychology, but it is not individualistic. Individual psychology asserts that we can know nothing about an individual if we know nothing about the individual's relationships. Adler includes within social feeling both personal relationships, such as friendships, romantic love, love between parent and child, and the relationship with the whole society and relationship with the quality of society. In a time when heterosexual marriage was the strict notion of institutional marriage, he spoke of failed marriages. In doing so, he spoke of the need to change the conditions that undermine stable marriages. Speaking of children, and he worked a great deal with children, he asserted that we need to improve the conditions of their upbringing, education, health, address poverty. Adler's individual psychology demanded social justice, and its practitioners have expanded the practice to include families in shapes that its founder did not know. More to the individual situation. Adler said in one place that training in friendship is preparation for marriage. He goes on to say that individuals who have difficulty making and keeping friends will have difficulty in making and sustaining a lasting marriage. Whether this assertion is correct or not, I do not know. But it is an assertion worth considering because it implies the socially equal importance of friendship and marriage, or as I prefer to call the committed relationship between 2 people, a loving commitment. to include more than what was known in Adler's time and to many people yet today as marriage. In his view, friendship and loving commitment are both aspects of a fully developed life. Both are shaped by individual responsibility and social circumstances. I am not convinced that every individual needs to be in a loving relationship, needs to be in a loving commitment such as marriage. But I have a hard time picturing any individual life that does not include friends. Now, I know that I value both friendship and loving commitment a great deal, and I am attentive to both committed love and to friendship. I have not always been successful at these and have had to learn how to be a better spouse and how to be a better friend. Having to face this reality is not bad news, since it means that growth is possible over a lifetime. As Adler put it nearly a century ago, we experience reality only through the meaning we ascribe to it, not as a thing in itself, but as something interpreted. He goes on, it is natural to conclude, therefore, that this meaning is always more or less unfinished or incomplete, or even that it cannot be altogether right. The realm of meaning is thus the realm of mistakes. The risk of mistakes, the living in the realm of mistakes, is the price we pay for meaning. Now, meaning is best clarified through individuals' relationships with other individuals and with society as a whole over the course of the lifetime. And those relationships are fraught with mistakes as well as with successes. It is not all one or the other. Now, friendship is a relationship, and like all living relationships, it is not static. Friendship is a process, an arena for growth. Not all friendships endure, but those that do endure are both locations of and sources for growth and meaning in life. For me, friendship is a significant relationship, but it is not why I use Facebook. On Facebook, I have 1,361 friends, many of whom I have never met. To be sure, I have far fewer actual friends. However, Facebook makes communication easier with some of my actual friends who live at a distance and enables me to have a larger active network of colleagues, activists, and, yes, friends. Though not all colleagues, not all activists, not all co-workers are friends in the deep way that I treasure. We may have good relationships. We may care about each other. We may work very well together, but that doesn't make us lifelong friends. And some of my actual friends are on Facebook, but that is not how we communicate. In the words of Gerard Manley Hopkins, the dearest freshness deep down things. These dearest freshness deep down things are at the heart of friendship. These are love, honesty, camaraderie, support, being together, challenge, and, because friendships endure, history together. And all of these develop in many ways, in face-to-face conversations, in doing things together in person, in emails, in postcards, letters, phone calls, though I have to admit infrequently in the age of COVID, are the personal visits. In 1936, long before the advent of Facebook, the British writer Rebecca Smith wrote, "There was a definite process for making friends, and it involved talking to them and listening to them for hours and hours. And this is my experience as well." Talking and listening for hours and hours. A friend is someone you stick with and who sticks with you when times are tough. A friend can tell you when you are being a jerk about something, and you can do the same for your friend. You stay friends even if one or the other makes a mistake. A friend is someone you want around no matter what. Jamaica Kincaid put it in these words: "Friendship is a simple thing and yet complicated. Friendship is on the surface something natural, something taken for granted. And yet, underneath, one could find worlds." To return to my friend Stephen, he has a progressive, debilitating illness and can no longer work or even live at home. Yet much in his life remains good. His marriage, his relationships with his sons and daughters-in-law, and his grandchildren. And yes, with me and other friends. However, being old has not turned out to be as much fun for us as we thought it would be all those years ago. And it may not last as long as he or I once thought. But friendship this deep endures. There are a few others with whom I've been friends since we were young, and many others with whom I've lost contact. And there are newer friendships begun in adulthood and even middle age that have proven to be equally deep and durable and promise to last. And this is possible in part because I take seriously Ralph Waldo Emerson's admonition: keep your friendships in repair. The value and power of friendship cannot be overestimated. I sincerely hope that each of you know of what I speak today, and that your life is rich in friendship. May it be so. May it continue to be so. Amen. Blessed be.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you.
The church shares this month's full offering with Downtown Daily Bread. Downtown Daily Bread is a mission project of Pine Street Presbyterian Church, separately incorporated as a 501c3 organization. Located at 310 North 3rd Street, Downtown Daily Bread serves the hungry and homeless of Harrisburg, providing a daily lunch, counseling service, showers, lockers, mail delivery, and a safe and secure environment to rest and access a variety of other assistance. The organization has been in operation for more than 35 years. Your contributions are greatly appreciated.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
I love the Beatles. And I'm not one to disagree with them typically. But I'm here to say, on behalf of this stewardship moment, that I feel like money can buy you love. Hear me out. Isn't love what we do? Standing on the side of love, doesn't that describe who we are? I think it is what we do, and I think it is who we are. And I want to contrast that with a prior experience. So, in a past church setting, I was curious how a particular church viewed issues like reproductive rights and homosexuality. So I asked the pastor, what is this church's stance on those two issues? And he said, well, we love the sinner, but hate the sin. So from that, I got that if I'm going to figure out when to toggle between love and hate, I better become real good at knowing what sin is. I better dive deep into sin. Ugh, that seems to me to be a real recipe for shame. Not something I felt like really investing my time in. Whereas if you move to the present here at UCH, I couldn't feel more affirmed, more supported. I couldn't feel more that the dignity of humans, including myself, was foremost to this church. And it's not just my love of Lois, but also all things questioning, intellectual, scientific, are supported. Everything about me is welcome at UCH, and I hope to welcome everything about everybody here as well. What would you put as a price tag on an environment like the one that we have? Well, you know what? You can put some prices on things required for this environment. What does it cost to keep the doors open? What are our utility costs? What are the costs to keep fully staffing and fairly staffing our church? What does it cost to take care of regular maintenance and deferred maintenance? They are things that come with numbers. And you can help. So, you've been sent a stewardship campaign with really helpful information that can allow you to figure out what you can afford, because you should give it a level that makes sense for you. Some information from my lovely wife, Lois. Through Wednesday, we've had 45 pledges totaling $151,305. More than half of our repeat pledgers have increased their pledge over last year. And the average pledge increase is more than 10%. What a great liftoff! And if we can keep this momentum going, or shall I say, as we keep this momentum going, what a wonderful way to welcome our new minister. And what a wonderful foundation to keep the love flowing. If you've misplaced your pledge form, and trust me, I understand that kind of thing, you can find a pledge form on the church website, or just Google UCH Stewardship. On behalf of Lois and myself, I'm wishing you a loving Sunday and welcoming you to appreciate and support our loving environment here at UCH. Thank you.
Be open to friendship, even friendships that are unexpected. Be open to what might seem like an unlikely or even impossible friendship. And do not let go too easily of a friendship when it seems not to go well. Always, always give friendship a chance.
When the night is falling, shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. When the night is falling, shine your light on me. I'll be by your side. When I hear you calling, I will come to you. I will come to you. I will come to you. When I hear you calling, I will come to you. I'll be by your side. When I'm lost in sorrow, give to me your hand. Give to me your hand. Give to me your hand. When I'm lost in sorrow, give to me your hand. I'll be by your side. When the people cry out, raise your voice with mine. Raise your voice with mine. Raise your voice with mine. When the people cry out, raise your voice with mine. I'll be by your side. When my time is over, sing for me your song. Sing for me your song. Sing for me your song. When my time is over, sing for me your song. I'll be by your side. When the night is falling, shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. When the night is falling, shine your light on me. I'll be by your side. I'll be by your side.
May the hope that sets you free and the love that never dies be in you and with you today and every day in the future. In the future into which we are now living. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be.
I'll be by your side. When the night is falling, shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. When the night is falling, shine your light on me. I'll be by your side. I'll be by your